I want to talk about two different types of quadratic factoring. In the first type, there's only one variable. If your problem's in this form, ax squared plus bx plus c, then you can use the quadratic factoring, that formula. Remember the x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That formula, and your factors are going to be x minus the root. Now remember, if the root is negative, it'll be x plus. So you're always using the opposite sign, and we'll look at that in a minute. And that was all in the quadratic formula factoring video that was presented earlier. Here's the second type. You've got two variables. 5x squared plus 13xy plus 6y squared. The quadratic factoring says, let's take the a is 5, b is 13, and c is 6, and let's use the quadratic formula. And we'll get our two answers from it, negative 3/5 and negative 2. Now, our first thought, if we were using quadratic factoring like we had in the earlier video, we would take this 5 and swing it out in front. I've got a negative 3, so I'll use the opposite sign and make x plus 3. And for the negative 2, I'll have an x plus 2. That's our first thought. But go back, if I do multiplication and distribute this out, I won't get what I've got here because I've got two variables. But all we need to do is adjust the variables to get the correct factors. So I'll be needing to have this y here at the end of each of these. And so now we just do a little adjustment and we've got our correct factors. Also, a little note, remember to always factor out the greatest common factor first. So in this example, I can tell that I should factor, I've got a common factor of 2. There's also an m squared in all of them. So I want to factor that out first. After I do that, what I have right here is something that I can use quadratic factoring with, just like I did here, and break that down into m minus 3 and m plus 7. And then all of this, don't forget, you have to have that 2m squared there. That's part of your factorization. Thanks for joining me.